Episode 128 of Australia's #1 marketing show. Ever wanted to get a date with Kylie Minogue? Listen in as my guest explains why and how he's going about it.
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
Hey, g'day everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I am your host, Timbo Reid. You are a motivated small business owner. We are still brought to you by the very good folk at Net Registry, but today it's a special show, and I'll tell you why. About 2 weeks ago, I received an email from this guy called John Dingeldei, and in the subject line it said, "Tim, please help me get a date with Kylie." Huh? A date with Kylie, I see? I open up the email and I won't read it all, but he says at the start, "You may have heard in the media that I've signed up for a brave challenge and I am trying to get a date with Kylie Minogue to raise funds for charity." I think it's a great idea. I think it's a brave idea. And I've also been looking at ways of integrating more charitable stuff into the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I checked out John's website. He had a YouTube channel. He seemed like a decent guy doing good things. And I thought, hey, why not get him on? And so that's exactly what I've done. And I'm putting this show out pretty quickly after the last episode because I want to get onto this sooner rather than later. So John, interesting guy. He talks all about the idea of raising money for charity, why he's doing it, why he's chosen Kylie. He's got to get 5 dates, actually, and he's had 4 dates which he's been sponsored for, and he's got to get this 5th date, and he's aiming to get it with Kylie Minogue. He tells why. What's interesting about it from a marketing perspective is the way he's gone about it. He's created an entire website that you'll hear about in the interview. He's created this fantastic YouTube video that replicates one of Kylie's songs, "I Should Be So Lucky." But there's also been some really unintentional commercial rub-offs into his business and his own personal life and brand, which has been fantastic. And I think there's a lot we as small business owners can learn from what John has to share today. John also reveals that he's struggling with a personal health issue, which he comes and tells us all about on this episode. But he also shares how this has positively impacted on him as a person and on him as a business owner. And there's some wonderful learnings in that as well. So, boy, oh boy, guys, there is a treasure trove of goodness in this episode. I really do hope that somehow, by hook or by crook, Kylie gets to hear this. Guys, 6 degrees of separation. That's what LinkedIn is built on. So if we can't do it, no one can. If you do know Kylie, if you know someone who knows Kylie, could you please reach out? Go to the Contact Us section on smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and feel free to let me know. Send me an email introduction to Miss Minogue. That would be wonderful. Or Dannii, I don't mind. But it would be great to see if we, as a small business, big marketing community, can make this happen. Okay, enough of that. Let's hear what John Dingeldei has to say about getting a date with Kylie Minogue. John Dingeldei, welcome to Small Business Big Marketing.
Thank you, Tim.
Now, John, you sent me an email, a random email, came out of the blue. Some bloke I don't know says he wants to get a date with Kylie Minogue and can I help? Well, I don't know Kylie, but I'll do anything to help. So what are you up to?
Well, I've joined a challenge to raise money for charity by getting 5 dates in 5 weeks. And I thought, well, the best way I can raise money is to get a date with a prominent person. So I had a chat with a few people and thought, who's the best person that I can have a date with? And Kylie Minogue was the name that came to the top of the list. We grew up in the same area. We have a love of music and singing, and we're both sufferers of cancer. So I thought there was a good, plenty of topics for conversation.
And look, you've reproduced one of her video clips, and so you look a lot like her with those coconut shell kind of bikini tops as well.
Oh, she's much more toned than I am.
Well, there's a lot to discuss there. Now, first of all, let us all understand this idea of it's a challenge for charities. A number of charities have come together and said, hey, big wide world, go and get 5 dates with random people, I'm guessing, and get sponsorship along the way. Is that the premise of the idea?
I think it was a couple of sisters that had the idea. They'd been sick of the internet dating scene and the speed dating scene, and they thought, what about the traditional way of getting a date? And what better way for us to do that than say, we'll do it for charity? And, you know, I've learned through this experience that people will do a whole lot for charity that they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Go outside their comfort zones. And so this pair of sisters set up the challenge, I think, about 3 years ago. This is the first time I've been involved. And one of the charities is Kids Undercover, who I've been on the board of Kids Undercover for a number of years. And when I saw it come through, I thought, well, I'll have to get behind this, a single guy. What better way to find a few dates than do it for charity?
So, okay, love it. Tell me the first 4 dates. Are we just talking, you know, I imagine they would have been pretty easy. People you know, people you've gone out with previously, that type of thing?
Well, that's what I thought where they would come from.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting a half page in my local paper because of the Kylie effort.
Yep.
And that created a bit of interest. But when you tell your whole municipality that you're looking for dates, half a page would have been a couple of $1,000s if I'd had to pay for it.
Yep.
And interest has just come from everywhere. And everybody's got a sister that's single and needs to be
taken out on a date.
Taken out on a date.
So, well, actually, how did the local paper find out that about what you were doing? Because I imagine there's been a whole lot of publicity spin-offs here, yeah?
Absolutely. And originally the fundraisers, the charities involved put out a press release, and they were looking for people in the area. And so they contacted me and said, would you be interested in doing something? I said, well, I think I've got a story for you. Mm-hmm. And that's why they gave me so much coverage.
So the first 4 dates were with were they blind? You know what I mean.
Yeah.
They weren't intoxicated, nor did they have a sight impairment, but
but it did help.
It did help. Come on, mate, you're a good-looking bloke. I'm looking at this photo of you in a purple shirt and holding up a sign saying Kylie date. I should be so lucky.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the first 4 dates, who were they, but how did you get them?
Well, one was a neighbour of a friend. And 2 were sisters of people that I knew through my kids' school.
Sisters, hang on, that's every bloke's dream. You've gone out with 2 sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a machine. You are a marketing machine.
Well, it's in the training and preparation because the ultimate goal there with Kylie, she's also got a pretty hot sister.
Oh yeah. And in fact, funnily enough, you're not going to believe it, I'm free. I know. I'm a married man. I've got 3 beautiful children and a lovely wife, but they said I'm available.
Join the queue. I've had every bloke I know has said, look, I'm available for Dannii.
Did the 2 sister date, did that equal 1 date or 2?
That was 2 dates.
Oh, so there's your 3 dates. Friend of neighbour and 2 sisters. At the same time, if you know what I mean, or at different times?
At different times.
Right. Okay. I've got to kind of keep bringing this back into small business, big marketing, but hey, let's just go with it. Any weird stuff happen on those dates?
No, it was all good fun. Nothing terribly weird, but I suppose the weirdest thing was one of the dates referred me to 2 other people. So I'm actually thinking about doing 50 dates in 50 weeks, to be honest.
Absolutely. Why stop at 4?
But I think that's the thing. Talk about bringing it back to small business. You do some things and a whole lot of unexpected stuff happens.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting. In fact, can you just hold that thought, because I think that is the nub of this discussion. However, I do love the way you've gone about getting exposure for your date with Kylie. So you've got a website, Kylie Date, date.com.
Yes.
A date to help kids undercover prevent your youth homelessness. You've got a fantastic video that you've produced. Clearly, you've had some help there. You've replicated one of her songs, I Should Be So Lucky, and pretty much imitated everything she does on that. That's brilliant. You've got a love poem. You've got the ability for people to make a donation. I mean, you've gone to quite some lengths in getting the word out there just on that website alone.
Well, it's interesting. The technology today makes all that very, very easy.
Yeah.
It's a WordPress site that I was able to set up in a couple of hours, write the whole thing and pop it down. The video, again, the technology, my niece and her friend who's a film producer, a student, came out with a digital SLR camera and the way they shot it, and we shot it in an afternoon and edited it together in another afternoon, and there we have it. And they did a fantastic job, and they just encouraged me to be silly. And
that you were.
I think the coconut bra was just a bit too far.
I'll put a link to that. I'll embed that video in the show notes to this episode so people can hear what we're talking about. I've got to ask, I mean, clearly the big question is, have you heard from Kylie herself?
I haven't. The timing was perhaps not so good given that she's just sacked her management. So I didn't realise that till after I'd got all enthusiastic about it. And she does have new management now, but they're a big corporate group. So the personal touch, it's not as easy to get through to them. I've contacted people in the media that I have association with, and they've had the same problem. I've even contacted the managing director of her old record company, Mushroom. They didn't know who her management was. I even accosted her bass player from her recent concert tour out here, and asked him, and he said, well, he hasn't got any contacts with them either. So I've had to try and post. I got 3AW, the radio station here in Melbourne. A friend of mine thought this was so much fun. He thought he'd try and help by ringing up and putting a rumour that I'd got a date with Kylie, and so they've posted the video on their website, and I've posted it out on to the Ellen DeGeneres show because they're looking for videos from Australians about Australia and quirky things. So that's just in the recent times. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I've certainly put the effort out there.
Oh, mate, I'd love to. Some amazing things have happened. Just guests coming on my little old show, feature articles in the Herald Sun, and one of my guests recently got his first client as a result of being on the show. So stranger things have happened, mate, and that's why I thought this interview would be a good idea because I'd love to help you get a date with Kylie. One of my good mates' parents. I say used to because I think they've moved. Used to live next door to her mum and dad in Canterbury.
Not in Ramsay Street?
Not in Ramsay Street, no, her real mum and dad. In fact, funny story, my mate's mum and dad went next door to the Minogues for Christmas drinks one Christmas Eve a few years ago, and there's Kylie and Dannii sitting in the lounge room. That's good. Mind you, they were too old to appreciate just what a moment that was. But, where was the phone call? So is there a deadline, John? Are you going to get? Is there a point where you go, nah, give up, or are you going to just keep going until you get that date?
I think 80 is probably the deadline.
80.
When I turn 80.
2 years, huh?
Well, she'll be she'll be probably 76 by then, and so I think perhaps we've run our race by then. Okay,
so you're going to keep going. Well, that's good. I'm here to help.
Well, as long as I can, generate cash for the charities, and even if I don't get the date with Kylie, I'm expecting that I'll at least get some sort of memorabilia or something in response from her that could be auctioned off for the charities to make money for Kids Undercover, and anything I can do in that way would be great. What have you raised to date? We've raised $2,500 to date, and that's just through my own personal network. And the wider it gets, I hope the more people will get on board.
Yeah, well, you can go to kyliedate.com and send John a donation. And now, okay, let's get it back to marketing and what's happened. As a result of doing this, you've got some publicity for yourself, for your business, I guess, as a secondary rub-off. What other kind of weird stuff's happening by putting your head above the trenches, I would say?
Well, I've had a management consulting firm saw the article in the paper and that followed that track through and saw all the things that I've done, and they contacted me to say, look, this is the greatest example we've seen of self-promotion that somebody's done. Can we use your stuff as an example? And as a result of that, they've been doing their training courses for various businesses that are in their target audience. And as a result of that, my business has been promoted to all these manufacturing companies and businesses that could benefit from the services that I offer.
Fantastic. So your business actually is a marketing business, isn't it?
Yeah, marketing, communications, branding, and helping people with the strategy side of things.
Mm-hmm. So getting involved, I did 2 years working with Jim Steins at Reach, and one of my major tasks was to involve corporate Australia in helping Reach grow. And it's fantastic what you see happen when businesses and employees and management get involved in a charity. It's a different dynamic, isn't it?
Absolutely. And as I said before, I think you can use the cause of a charity. People will do a whole lot of things that they wouldn't normally do. You see people shaving their heads and doing physical challenges. Physical challenges are a great way to get people fit and out there. And they perhaps wouldn't have done the training that's necessary to run a marathon, but the charity issue drives them, and they'll do the things that they wouldn't otherwise do. I've asked people to go out on a date that I perhaps wouldn't have had the courage to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And they've gone out with me because when they perhaps wouldn't have had the courage to do it.
That's right. When's you going to ask me out? Have you has your business had a social conscious prior to this? Well, you've been on Kids Undercover board, so clearly that's you have. But has your business?
Yeah, I think so. And I sort of think that the purpose behind everything we do is to try and make the world a better place. And if you've got some skills and abilities to help other people, then put them to good use, and it'll pay back in the end. And I've got to say, it's paid back for me. I'm couldn't be happier. And here we are talking about the possibility of having a date with Kylie.
Hey, who else was on the list, out of interest?
Well, my daughter's a great athlete, so I thought Sally Pearson would be a wonderful person to have a chat with after her great feats at the Olympics.
There'd be a few hurdles in the way of getting to her.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, exactly. But I wouldn't be able to catch her. That'd be the problem.
Anyone else?
Well, someone suggested Joan Jett.
Goodness me. Hey? She is 80.
Yeah, exactly. But, they're I found it's the challenge. Often they say, who would you invite for dinner if you could invite anybody in the world? And, I can never answer that question because there's so many wonderful people in the world. You could go for the Elle Macphersons, and you could go for Ellen DeGeneres. There's so many interesting people in the world. But Kylie, having grown up in Camberwell and watched Neighbours, and
she ticks a lot of boxes.
She, as a business person, look at the things that she's achieved in business. She's got her own lingerie range. She's got her homewares range that she's just released, perfumes, jewellery. She's just got a fantastic entrepreneurial spirit. She's been very, very driven her own career as much as she's had management and record companies beside her. And if you talk to Michael Gudinski, who gave her first break, she's the one that's driven that career, not the Mushroom Records or Michael Gudinski. People have criticised her singing ability and her talent, but she's been one of the most successful people in the world. And I think there are great business lessons to learn from what she's done.
Now, if you get a date with Kylie as a direct result of being on this show, you have to then say, hey, listen, I've got a mate who's got this wacky show called Small Business Big Marketing, and he wants to interview you about all the brand extensions that she's done, particularly interested in the lingerie range. I think excellent brand extension, and we should find out more about that.
I'd be very happy to do that. In fact, a number of years ago when I was on the board of the Marketing Institute, Gene Simmons from KISS was coming out.
The ultimate marketer.
Well, isn't he? And we got him to speak to the group as on the world's first rock and roll brand. And I think there was I had the honour of having to throw Gene Simmons off the stage because he wouldn't shut up.
Oh, wow. Love that. I've got some stories about Gene Simmons. I do a lot of keynote speaking, and one of the booking agents who I work with used to be his personal kind of entourage, flew with him all around the world, and him and Bon Jovi, two different bands, and one of them was a beautiful person, the other one wasn't. We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Now, John, we didn't talk about going down this path, and please say if you don't want to, but you mentioned you and Kylie have a number of things in common, one of which is dealing with cancer.
Yes.
I haven't had a discussion with a guest on Small Business Big Marketing, but I'm very about getting an illness that could potentially really affect running your business, the way you go about your business. What have you, don't even know what the question is, but what have you learned from it? How has it changed the way you do business?
Well, you don't suffer fools very lightly anymore. Nothing's as important. You don't have to pander to a client that's not listening to you when you think life's too short. And it's sort of, I only work now with people that are great to work with. And the interesting thing that's happened from that I haven't necessarily sacked clients, although, we've had conversation to say, look, I think we're better off to not do any business anymore. And what's happened is a year later, a client has come back to me, but they've come back on my terms. And it's because I've had the confidence, and I think the cancer has given me that sort of confidence to be more decisive, not put up with things that you don't need to put up with, because it's a two-way street in business. You want to do the best thing you can for your client, but one of the things, and you probably find this in marketing as well, you've got a mastery, and people hire you because you've got a mastery of something. But that mastery changes once you're hired, because you actually become the slave and they become the master. And often everybody seems to think they know about marketing. And so you'll present a concept or an idea and well-rounded and argued case, but their response is, I don't like that. And the question is not whether you like it or not. It's the question is it right? And I've found, sometimes I don't necessarily have the energy to try and convince some people. If I know that I can't do what I believe is right, then I'm not helping them. And I'm happy to coach them and train them. And maybe, as I've found over the last year, people have come back to me and said, we've thought about what you said, and actually we really want to do what you say now.
Is that learning something that you think, gee, retrospection's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but is that something you go, I wish I'd kind of knew that when I was 20?
Absolutely. And sometimes you take on jobs and you do work because you think you've got to take on everything that comes, and that when you're in business, businesses have their ups and downs, and you think, how am I going to, you've got to take as much business as it comes. And I've tried to build my business and get it bigger, and the further I do that, the further I get away from the things that I do best. Mm-hmm. And it's taken me a long time to learn that you stick to your knitting, stick to the things that you're passionate about and that you really believe about. Be open to listening to people and getting feedback, and put that into the mix. But if you have an expertise in something and you're trained and skilled in it, then be confident in what you're delivering. And if they don't understand that, then let them find someone else. There's so much marketing dross out there I see these days, and a lot of it is the client's own fault.
Yes. Hello to all you clients.
and look, I love the clients, and I've got the best clients in the world because we have two opinions, and between us we get to the right answer. I never presume to know more about my client's business than they do, and I just ask the same, that they never presume to know more about my expertise and what I do. And from that, we'll get the best result.
So your biggest learning or insight from having cancer, running your business, is just this, well, you mentioned like not tolerating falls and just getting this, what I thought is really interesting is just getting this newfound confidence in what it is that you have to offer.
It's a newfound confidence, no procrastinating. And not that, I'm not going to die.
Well, we all will, but just...
Well, yeah, but as a result of the condition, I'm having surgery on Monday.
That's such a dour thing to say, Tim. What am I?
Well, life is a terminal condition.
Yeah, that's right. You're having surgery on Monday, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's, as I say, this whole do things for charity. Got me started in getting fitter. When I did a marathon to raise money to build a school in Bangladesh, and that got me back into fitness again after years of sort of just putting on weight, and so it pushed me out there to get fitter, and now that's paid off. I'm as fitter than I've ever been, and I'm going in, and so the results will be good as a result because of that.
Good on you, mate. Well, John, you are ticking a lot of boxes, not just the Kylie. Here I am thinking I'm interviewing a bloke about getting a date with Kylie. It's great to hear what the spin-offs have been. I think there's lessons in there. There's so many lessons for other small business owners listening to this. Social conscience stuff, having a crack, believe in what you're doing, be passionate, all that. I hope we can help you get a date with Kylie. We'll get this out as soon as we can. And thanks for sharing, mate.
Oh, thank you, Tim. I really appreciate it. And look, I think that just having a go, even if you do it poorly, it pays dividends. And if you pull your head in and by yourself, being confident about having a go at stuff, it pays off. And you can improve and fine-tune things as you go. But if you never do anything, you'll never get anywhere. Action
creates reaction.
Exactly.
Good on you, John.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Well, guys, I hope you feel as inspired as I do. Go and have a look at John's site, kyliedate.com. If you're up to it, give a donation. If you know Kylie, make contact with him or come through smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. What a great story that would be to round out what's been a great fundraising exercise by John already, because he's raised $2,000, 4 dates. Hey, happy days for John. Whether he gets Kylie or not, he's had a good time raising the money. I wish John all the best with his surgery on Monday. He's an inspiring guy. I'd love to hear what you took from that interview. Please go to the show notes for episode 128 at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and leave me your thoughts. I know John would love to hear them. I'd love to hear them. And we can all be inspired together. We can have a small business, big marketing love-in. That's what it's all about. It's all about building a community, building that tribe. So I hope you enjoyed it. Lots more to come over the coming weeks. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, we're brought to you by the very good folk at Net Registry. Go and check them out to get your online marketing sorted at netregistry.com.au. Until next time, may your marketing be the best marketing. See ya.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.